Hey everybody, here we are back at our channel, Food on the Vine. I have my seeds right now divided into warm weather and cool weather. We're moving into fall. So it's time to start thinking about those cool weather crops and what to put in your fall garden. Yes, you can grow a fall garden. Our zone is 8 to 8B-ish, and this is the Northwest. This is West Coast, Washington, Oregon, that kind of thing, what you can grow here. And we can grow till about mid-November or so, and much later inside of our greenhouse. So we're gonna look at some of the things that you can plant right now. It's August 31st today. We're starting to move into September and hope to get some kind of harvest on them before frost sets in. Let's go. Okay, so let's take a look at this box right here, which is mostly all sown with cool weather crops. And some of these are a nice size already. They've done well because they're partially shaded. They've done well through the summer. And what we've got here is Swiss chard. Swiss chard is excellent for your fall and winter gardening. We've got it. What we're using down here, if Tristan can look closely at the box structure, it's crude, but it works. And this is old dresser drawers from somebody's thrown out dresser that we made into our greens area. Okay, one of our greens areas. What you see here is some small Caesar salads, some small romaines that are ready to be picked, and this is more recently planted small cauliflowers that need a lot more room to grow, so I've started picking the lettuce out of their box to give them space. Cauliflower, broccoli, cabbages, excellent cool weather crops, anything in the cabbage brassica family. Okay, cauliflower and broccoli come from a family called brassicas, which is all cabbage related. You'll have your kale in there and your collard greens in there, which we are going to look at next. Okay, here you have some red Russian kale. Sometimes they call it a blue Russian, but this is a type of kale that tends to grow pretty well in our area. And you can see another kind, this real curly leaf down here is starting to grow as well. These will get much bigger, believe it or not, even this one, as the cool weather begins to come in. They love those cooler months that are, say, 70 degrees and lower. Still fairly warm at night, but they'll do okay as long as it's staying like above 40 at night. And here's a small collard green that's begun on the corner here. The collards get very, very big. This is very small compared to how it will be. Let me show you down here some more collard greens begun. Okay, I love this cool weather. These are going to really fill out and get really big. So we've started them already. And further back, you have more cauliflower plants started. Those will get much larger and fill out. And further back still have some what we call lacinato kale. And it's a much flatter leaf, not quite as curly as the other ones that are on the market. The lacinato is one of the very best ones for cold weather. These crops, most of these, including the collards, will last even through our brief snow in the winter. We get about 6 inches, sometimes up to a foot here. It won't last more than about a week or two, and they will grow they won't grow, but they won't die. They'll stop growing for about a month or two and then start growing again in February. So here we have also another brassica. This is forming a purple cabbage here. So we've got purple cabbage, or green cabbage can do well. I'll show you a beautiful green cabbage. We're out here in our community garden area, so I'll show you my neighbor's garden box has a beautiful green cabbage. Here we have more purple cabbage going. Cabbage. Okay, now this is the end of summer and this is ready to harvest already, but it's a good time to start some cabbage, or even if you have started them perhaps about 4 weeks ago, would be probably getting a good time of harvest for this area. Believe it or not, our cold weather loving crops also do really well in the greenhouse, even through the summer. Our summers don't get so excruciatingly hot here. We get up to 90 degrees or so. And they do well even in the greenhouse that can get up near 100 degrees. So here's these collard greens, believe it or not, these are 2 years old. I just keep growing them. You can actually take their seed and flowering stems and just cut them off. And all of these other ones have those seed pods cut off. I'm allowing this one to make some seeds for me. Can you see that pod?
Yep.
Okay, that's making more seeds in there. These will grow and grow and grow. If you just keep cutting them back and eating the food, they will continue to grow, and they don't get too bitter for me. So it's a matter of taste. We use them a lot for blending into pureed soups or smoothies. We love green drinks here. And I want to show you some beets can tend to like some of that cooler weather as well. And here we are in summer, and they're doing really well, but they're getting happier since it started to cool down. I want to show you a part of how I do my planting this time of year. I have things that have grown already since the spring, and I allowed this spinach plant to mature and flower and make seeds. So here you've got spinach seeds. Okay, see if you can see the seeds more clearly amongst the dust. And one way that I like to plant, okay, I'd love to do a row just right in here. We're just gonna do this, okay? And next time I water, those seeds are gonna get germinated. I will take seeds like this and just start moving them around the garden where I would like spinach to be growing this fall. Spinach is a cool weather crop. It tends to do poorly midsummer when it's hot, can bolt to go to seed really easily. You're much better to plant it about now, going into September, than to have it in the middle of summer. And you're much better to plant it, say, in March, or even if you have a greenhouse, in February. So here we have some baby. We saw the large Swiss chards outside in the garden. Here are some babies that we've just begun for the greenhouse. Now these will get large and they'll sustain us through the winter and not die from frost, believe it or not. And here we have something called mach that I just love, or mache. I don't know quite how people say it, but it's beginning some more over here as well. It's a cool weather crop. You don't know it, but it's something that you see a lot in your mixed green containers that you buy from the store. There's this little kind of roundish green leaf that's in there, and that's usually mach. And it grows really well also in the greenhouse through the winter. And over here, in contrast to our big collards, and this is not even the biggest plant. I mean, our biggest ones had leaves four to five times that size. But in contrast to our more adult ones, you look to this side, we have our baby ones. Here's 4 new ones to grow for the winter. Okay. So before I show you that next thing, this is broccoli. So we're trying this out. Not sure quite how it'll do out here like this in the greenhouse, but we're gonna try it for our fall crop. Okay, so what I wanna show you is, just like I'm doing with the spinach, this is kind of a lazy gardener's thing. I don't even have to go pull out my seed packets when I'm just grabbing spinach seeds, right? Same here. This is a romaine plant that I let go to flower and seed. There was a giant Caesar romaine. This was a giant Caesar romaine plant that was absolutely enormous and lusciously delicious. So I let it flower and go to seed. I picked the head off, and even after you cut your head off, if you leave the roots in the ground, you will have branches spring up, stems with flowers. And once it makes a flower, you can see here, like here's a little flower here, yellow, that is now closed. It will then make puffy, like kind of like a dandelion. And then you get your seeds from in there. It's kind of hard to see in my hand, but if you look, Tristan, can you look down here? So this plant is going to just blow some seeds onto this ground and start to sprout lettuces.
Yep.
It's little white seeds. And what I will do is I'm going to take a head of this. We're going to go outside and we're going to plant some more romaine for the fall. This is the best you want when you're gathering seeds. You want to get it from your best, healthiest, most luscious, largest plants, because the seeds are genetic. So that's going to help you have a better outcome from your seeds. I'm going to plant some more. Just put a bunch of these seeds, because you can plant too much. You can always thin them out later. Or if you want to, you can, I often take the babies and have a few in place and then move the rest to another bed. Okay, or I could choose to move these into some pots in the greenhouse for winter. Okay, and here we're gonna go like this. Lettuce seeds need light to sprout, so we don't plant them very deeply. We leave them on the surface and just kind of do like that. Here we are over in this is more of a summer squash cucurbit bed here. But I'm gonna put some more of my giant Caesar lettuce seeds, because I want this to be ready for winter. Now, one thing in Zone 8, where we are in the Northwest here on the Olympic Peninsula, is that most of the time I will have my lettuces survive the winter, even with a little bit of snow. And so by planting them now, even if they're not full size by the time frost sets in, they will most likely survive the winter. And when spring comes, it's not all is lost if you don't get things big enough to harvest before frost sets in, because your cold weather crops many times are going to survive a light snow, and spring begins to arrive just barely in the very beginning, sort of late February, early March. Your greens that you had through the winter are going to start to grow again. So I've had many times garden starts, little seedlings that are so big, lettuces, and they're the first things to just boom out and be ready to eat by April, because I let them overwinter. So think of it that way. Even with things like garlic, you can put some garlic in the ground now. It may sprout up and want to grow a little bit before the frost comes. It might die down from the frost, but it will be the first thing, boom, before you would even feel ready to come out and plant it because it's too cold, it's going to start to break ground and grow. So garlic is also a decent thing to plant in the fall, even late fall, because it's going to boom out and grow. You know, it'll establish a little bit of roots in your fall season, making it a stronger plant, so that then when it booms out and breaks soil and starts to grow in the spring, you already have a well-established little garlic there. So one other thing I want to mention for cooler weather that isn't always thought about as a cold weather crop, and that is peas. Peas can even do okay with a little bit of shade. We like to grow those flat, sweet snow peas, like Chinese snow peas. Now, if you look up here, this is a spent pea vine. Okay, it's spent. Even so, it's growing some new shoots off here, and I fertilized it. Okay, I put some fertilizer and extra added compost here. As you can see, this nice, rich, dark compost. And what do you see happening along the bottom? There are new pea sprouts. I've got new pea bushes coming out of the roots down here and out of the bottom of these vines. So you don't necessarily have to plant new peas, but you can. But this year, I've just had so much going on, I'm just letting them create new sprouts down here at the bottom, and I'm getting a whole nother bumper crop, second bumper crop of peas. Okay, and we're going into fall, and I'll let them grow, and we'll get plenty of peas out of these. Looking at this beautiful 5-year-old, actually it's in its 5th summer, so 4.5 years old or so, lacinato kale plant. And unfortunately it's not unfortunate, but it's not time to cut it back. So what's unfortunate is I can't show you how I do that until probably come spring, because this kale is so cold hardy. It's one of your better snow hardy, cold hardy plants. It will live through the snow. We will be coming out to cut it, to eat on it, to make smoothies and kale soup through the winter. There's another kale down here, as you saw on the other part of our garden in the community garden area. We're now in our backyard garden area. Here's another beautiful kale growing. I would expect it to make it through the winter. Beautiful thistle here, or thistles is, I grow this for medicine. Usually there's thistle around the area, but I wasn't finding any in the nearby forest, and then suddenly one morning here it was. Popped out, started growing in the garden, which can often happen to me somehow. It's like little miracles. I want to grow a certain herb or a certain something for medicinal reasons, and I can't seem to find it in the forest, and it will just show up in the garden. So that's where this beautiful prickly came from. And also cold weather, you see more chard growing back there next to the beautiful green beans that are going up. Green beans, not so much a cold weather crop, summer crop, but they do look lovely. Okay, and down here we have more cool weather. These will turn into, these are Brussels sprout plants right here. Over here, this will be a head of broccoli. So here's some broccolis planted. Might be a little too close together, we will see, but this one's getting big. Okay. Back over there, we have some more chard and Brussels sprout plants growing. This has a leaf disease, which I can show you right now. This comes on all my chards, no matter what. But if I keep picking the leaves off that have it, the plant will seem to overcome it. It will not kill the plant out. You just got to keep picking the leaves off so it won't spread. Let's take a quick look just to recap those fall crops that I just talked about. In case you're taking some notes or whatever and you didn't get everything, here's your chance to catch up, okay? So our first one, we're looking at lettuces. Okay, so I'm gonna put them down here, and maybe if Tristan can show them on the film, then you guys can see them. So we've got our different lettuces, and I'll put a few packets down there. Okay, so here's lettuces. These are lettuce mixes. These are excellent. Okay. Okay, we've got, oh yeah, get some romaine in there. That's my favorite. Okay. Whoop. Sorry, kind of windy today. We've got our Swiss chard. Okay. And our kales. Different kinds of kale. This, you don't see the picture of the kale, but this is called a true Siberian kale. I don't have any in the ground right now. This does really good with cold weather and snow, hence the name Siberian. So I will be planting some of this. We've got our cabbages, okay, and related crops of brassicas such as broccoli, cauliflower. Okay, we've got our spinach. We have another wonderful crop which I did not mention called tatsoi. This stuff is fantastic, and it's an Asian green that does better in cooler weather as well. We've got our collard greens. Okay. And our match, which I don't have a picture here of that either, but these are our match seeds. It's a nice salad green. Okay. One other thing that I have noticed seems to do better with the cooler weather versus too much summer heat is cilantro. So I'm gonna also do some cilantro and some dill, because too much heat and the dill seems to go right to seed. Okay, and there you have it. So you can take a quick glimpse of that or take your notes. There's tons of cool weather crops right there for you.